BBOR, Black Box Online Radio, coming to you from West Virginia. Well, it is another NFL Sunday, and I might be from West Virginia, but I am a New York Giants fan, and once again, I would like to congratulate the New York Giants on another hard-fought loss. They won 2 games this year, literally. Sounds like just a lousy figure of speech, but yes, the Giants lost again. Okay, though, some people view football as something that is almost like a religion. Not quite, but they're very passionate about it. And I've mentioned on this channel a handful of times that religion was one of the things that I didn't want to talk about. But then I also remembered, years before I ever started recording things and putting them online, wouldn't it be great if we just had a show where no topic was off limits? So then I figured, why not? Because I learned yesterday that the channel Marvelous Work and a Wonder is back on YouTube. This is something that we have been following. Just over the years, we've done a handful of uploads about Marvelous Work and a Wonder. Some people describe them as a political cult that is run out of Salt Lake City, and other people say that they are a genuine sort of new age spiritual movement. But they have a YouTube channel that is up and running again. Sadly, though, they did not include the show MWAWTV, Marvelous Work and a Wonder Television. I mean, that was something that I used to kind of start the day with sometimes. I would just watch some of those things. They're like 2.5 hour long segments, but I would watch some of it, just to start the day and such. And it was hosted by a guy named Christopher Nemelka, Nemelka. And we have a couple uploads just about him on this channel, and we'll hopefully include some links in the description box below. But it's like, it was just sort of, when you're watching their TV show, they would pretty much just say things like, I'm smart. I went to Salt Lake Community College, and I took 8 classes. I got A's in all of them, and I did it while raising 9 children. And I was like, I just never really heard anyone present their stances on religion and such. But yes, the reason why this thing is called The True History of Religion, excuse the silly introduction, is they posted a new book online for free called, what? The True History of Religion. That's the title of their book. And it's an audiobook that's only about 4 hours long. And it says that it's coming soon, so I think they mean that the print version will be out soon. But the audio book, The True History of Religion, is available on YouTube for free. And I'll include a link to that in the description box. I just talk about this stuff because I think it's entertaining. But I went through about the first 25 minutes of this audiobook, and they made some very bold statements. And I think, though, another reason why you can kind of listen to these sort of far-out types is that you find that there are a lot of things you disagree with. There are a lot of things that you disagree with, but then once in a while, you actually find a sentence that's like, hey, wait, that actually is almost like a diamond in the rough sort of thing. Hey, that's not such a bad thing. So I was listening to the audiobook, The True History of Religion, and the first and foremost thing is they reiterated a point that they've talked about a lot, that religion and politics are the same thing. And they've said this in other Marvelous Work and a Wonder productions, and I was just like, well, no, impossible. How on earth could you say that how could Marvelous Work and a Wonder say that religion and politics are the same thing? They're clearly not the same thing, right? I mean, yeah, you can have a theocracy that's connected to religion, but I mean, religion and the act of governing a society, it's not the same thing. But their explanation is that it's all about using ideas to mobilize people. It's not about having the person who can pick up the biggest rock is the leader of the pack. It's like human beings over thousands of years evolved to the point where we can use ideas to mobilize people. Religion uses ideas to get people to do things, and politics uses ideas to get people to do things. In short, that ideas are what controls a society and a civilization, and that's kind of the thing that they put forward. But the thing, though, that I really would take exception with is, during the early parts of this book, The True History of Religion, it is that the narrator, which I believe is Christopher Nemelka, and also narrating this ebook, was saying that there are different types of people in the world. There are ignorant people, like ignorant and foolish people. There are simple people, and there are wise people. And he said, though, that this book, The True History of Religion, is for the ignorant and the simple. Paraphrasing, of course, but that's kind of the message that was conveyed. And I was like, What on earth are you doing? You're saying that you wrote a book called The True History of Religion, but it is not marketed to the wise people, to people who have wisdom, to people who have education. You only want to get this thing out there to people who are simple and uninformed. You're obviously just taking advantage of other people's ignorance, but you're openly admitting it, so you think that's okay? No, you would never want to market something like this, the true history of religion, to people who are educated. I was like, what on earth are you talking about? When I did say, though, that there was something that I agreed with, though, they also talked about how when you deal with things like scholarship and academia, I'll never forget, I'll never remember who the first person that said this was, but someone said that for academic works to be truly academic, the general public cannot comprehend them. It has to be kind of only something that is comprehensible to the very, very well-educated, and academic publications only can be comprehended within the academic circles. Someone said that back when I was in college. I don't even know the origin of it. But the problem with that is it creates this type of monopoly on thinking. And that, I think, is a genuine problem that we often have when we're discussing things like religion, because during our upload on the flat earth debate, a woman was saying that you often find that scientists are trying to have a monopoly on science. They're saying, no, only we can interpret scientific data because, we have these degrees and we have these qualifications. Anyone who is not a professional scientist can't say anything about science. It's just like Martin Luther and the church saying that only priests can interpret the Bible and only priests can study Latin, and anyone who is not a priest cannot interpret something religious. And that's a big nutshell version on Martin Luther, and I'm fully aware that not all the historians are in complete agreement about Martin Luther and his activities. Some people even view him as a villain more than a hero. But in all seriousness, in any sort of kind of academic discipline, including the sciences, religious studies, whether it's philosophy, history, any sort of academic discipline, there really is this giant urge that all groups often have. They want to be in the upper echelon of human thought. They want to be like, we are the ones who are above the masses, and we're the only ones who can interpret the data, or interpret the findings, or interpret the material. And that, I think, is a genuine problem that it definitely exists with religious scholars, absolutely. I mean, you could even say that the concept of a clergy kind of functions in that way. So I think that was a very strong point that was reiterated. But I also have to say, and once again, I haven't read the full book. Maybe I will, but it's really just goes to show you that some people might just be kind of composing something that is somewhat far out and somewhat wacky, to be honest. And then they're trying to share this thing to people who, by their own admission, aren't going to know the difference about, hey, this guy's just making up crap so he can have a following. This guy is just making up crap so people are going to be watching his YouTube channel and talking about him and visiting their website. Let's not kid ourselves. Those type of people do exist. I mean, we can talk. There's an enormous value in free speech. There's an enormous value in discussions. There's an enormous value in discourse. And there's an enormous value in hearing different points of view. That's why we're even talking about it now, to try and find the diamonds in the rough, right? But at the same time, though, people do just make crap up so they can have a following. Absolutely, that happens. And that's what I really felt talking about the concept of this book, The True History of Religion. I will include a link to that audiobook as well. As I also mentioned, there'll be some links to our previous uploads from this channel about Christopher Nemelka that'll be a little bit more introductory. I also noticed that the Marvelous Work and Wonder also has a political movement called the Humanity Party. Once again, politics and religion are one and the same. They just have different labels for the different wings of their functionality, if you will. And the Humanity Party has uploaded the backlog of their radio show, Blog Talk Radio. I mean, that's going to be something that I will check out because, it's just different. It's just something different that you don't really hear too often. But there is an enormous difference between being a supporter and being a follower. I mean, you can kind of check something out, hear what somebody has to say, but that doesn't mean you are a devout follower and a pure 100% believer. Sometimes you just like listening to silly people on the internet because they say silly things, and then you're just like, oh my god, that's crazy. Sometimes you just do that, though. I mean, that's why people like Stefan Molyneux have such huge followings. But at the same time, though, we always have to approach these things with a certain degree of caution. But anyway, this is our mini upload for the day. If you have anything to say at all about this, please drop a comment below. I would love to hear from you. And once again, Marvelous Work in the Wonder is the name of their YouTube channel. Other channel is The Humanity Party. We'll have some links in the description box. Until next time.